Hello, my name is Darren Thomas and I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this particular video, we're going to look at how to solve a linear equation that has fractions within it. So why don't we go ahead and move to our example. So our example here is going to be very, very simple. It's going to be 5 over 6x plus 1 over 12 equals 3 over 4. So as you can see here, it is clear that we have several fractions in this particular equation. We have over here 5 over 6. That's our first equation, 1 over 12. And then actually even on the opposite side of the equal sign is also a fraction. Now, normally, when you're doing solving equations, you can divide by this, subtract by that, whatever. But the problem here is that we have different values in the denominator. So over here we have 6, here we have 12, and over here we have 4. This makes it very difficult to move things around. So often the first step that you have to take when trying to solve an equation that has fractions in it is that you have to find the least common denominator. In other words, you have to find the multiple of the denominators that they all can go into, that they all can be divided into. And so in this particular situation, and it takes some practice to try to figure out what the best answer is. But in this situation, the least common denominator, or the least common multiple, if you will be 12. In other words, 12 is a multiple of 6, because if you go 6, 12 is the second multiple. 12 is a multiple of 12. It's the first number there, 12. And 12 is also a multiple of 4. 4, 8, 12, as so. So if this is what we're going to do. I'm going to multiply 5 over 6 by 12, and I'm going to multiply 1 over 12 by 12, and I'm going to multiply 3 over 4 by 12. And by doing that, I'll be able to have a consistent value that I can use, because what will happen is that when I multiply these by 12, I can then reduce the number down to a whole number, and then I can do my solving appropriately. So let me show you what this looks like going from here. So to go through all the steps is going to look something like this. You're going to have 12 out here on the outside, and then on the inside of your parentheses you'll have 5 over 6 x plus 1 over 12, like so. And whatever we do on one side of the equal sign, we must do on the other side. So then we have equal, and then we'll still have our 3 over 4, and then we'll just put the 12 in parentheses like so. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to distribute this 12 here. That's what we have to do. We have to distribute this. And so what we end up with is, we end up with 12. I like to write it as a fraction just to make it consistent in my mind. 12 over 1 times 5 over 6x plus 12 over 1 times 1 over 12, excuse me. And then we have 12 over 1, and then we have 3 over 4. This is what we have. Now, as you know, 12 times 5 is 60. And 60 over 6 is going to be 10. So our final part for this one will be 10x. 12 over 1 times 12 times 12 times 1, is 12. 1 times 12 is 12. And so our answer here will become 1. And then 12 over 1, or 12 times 3 is 36, 1 times 4 is 4, and so then we end up with the final answer of 9 there. That's what's happening. So let me go to the next screen and solve this for you. So let's see here. We had 60 here. 60 over 6x plus, let's see here, our other number was 12 over 12, which is going to be 1, like so. And then our final one was, let's see here, 12 times 3 was 36 over 4. That's what we have. So you can see here, I multiplied the 5 by 12. I multiplied the 1 by 12. I multiplied the 3 by 12. And then the bottom number stayed the same for the most part. The bottom number multiplied by 1, So they stayed the same. But now they stay for the most part the same. They did stay the same. Now here's what happens. Because we can now reduce this, we end up with whole numbers that we can now finish the equation with. So 60 over 6x is going to become 10x, because both sides can be divided by 6 there. 12 over 12 becomes 1. And of course, 36 over 4 becomes 9, excuse me. That's what we have right here. Nice and clean. Now, all you do now is the basic steps that are expected when you are trying to solve for an equation. So now the next step I need to do is I, of course, subtract 1 from both sides. And so I get 10x. Oh, excuse me. I get 10x equals 8. And then, of course, now I divide both sides by 10. And then the final answer is going to be right over here. X equals 4 over 5 because I'm going to reduce the 8 out of 8 over 10. So this is our final answer. Now, if we plug this back in, of course, we'll get the answer that is 3 over 4. And so this is how you are able to solve an equation that has fractions in it. You must find the least common denominators of all the fractions involved, and then you can solve accordingly. So I hope that this was useful for you. I would like to thank you for listening and watching, and we hope to see you in future videos. Take care.